Hey everyone, Rick Henderson, home chef, editor for Foods That Lower Blood Pressure. Today I'm going to make a clam chowder. My teenager really loves clam chowder. He always asks for it. But you know, the traditional clam chowder is really high in fat, which as we know isn't good for the ticker. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it up a little bit. First, I'm going to make my own coconut milk. Instead of using regular milk or a high-fat cream, which we all know is yummy, but isn't good for our arteries and those kind of things, what I've got is I got a quart here of 2%. Now you can't go fat-free because fat-free just doesn't work. Well, in my opinion. So we'll pour that in. Yeah, I'm making a mess. That's okay. And then what we're going to do is I got about 6 servings of coconut. So we're just going to put that in. Open that up a bit. And then what we'll do is we'll puree it. And then we'll use our strainer to strain it out. And that will turn into coconut milk. Turn this on. Hit puree. Alright, so that's been pureeing for about 2 minutes. Careful when you lift the lid off. Just going to pour this in now. Hopefully I don't make too much of a mess. We're just straining out those bits. Okay, I admit it, I'm kind of a messy cook. And then what you're left with is your coconut flavored milk. I'm just going to leave that in there for a little bit because I don't need it quite yet. Now, the other thing I have is I have my slow cooker. Now I'm going to make my clam chowder in the slow cooker. So, I've got my butter. Now this has been on for a while. It's pretty hot. And the reason for that is because usually you want to saute your onions, but I'm not going to saute my onions in another pot because I just don't want to clean it. I have enough messes to clean without having to get another pan out and sauteing and all that kind of stuff. So I put the butter in there, it's melting right away. Got my onion. Now the thing with onion, as you guys all know, they'll make you cry unless you cut it this way. So I cut it along the 2 roots, okay? Put this one to the side. You'll see there's your stem, here's this part. We're going to cut the stem off, right? So it looks like this. Give it a peel. It's not too hard to peel an onion, right? I just peel this layer off because, well, that dry, papery part of the onion is not what I want. Now, I'm going to make 2 slits. One here, one here. Not all the way down. Okay, so you can see the 2 slits. Now if you look and see, I'm just 3 on that side, 2 on that side. No tears yet. And this is my diced onion. How easy is that? Now, I don't want to waste anything, so I'll cut it right down to the stem. It's okay, it's all going to get pureed anyways. I can hear the butter, it's all melted and bubbly. And this will go into my pot. Swirl that around, get that all covered yummy. Now I'm just going to let this do its thing for a little while. About 10 minutes to soften up the onions before we add in the coconut milk. And then we're also going to put in our yams. Now I'm just cutting these dry ends off. When I do my yams, I do the whole yam, skin and all, because that's where lots of the nutrients are, found the straight onion. Now, this is about 7 cups of yam. There's almost 1,000 milligrams of potassium per cup. So that means we're just under 7,000 milligrams of potassium for all us high blood pressure people. So I'm just going to chop this up. And these are going to slow cook, so they don't have to be finely diced because you're just going to leave it for a while. Sometimes these big ones are a little tougher, but you know, keep your knives in good shape. I'm just quartering them up. Let me just grab a utensil over here. For those of you who don't know, I'm a square kind of person. I like squares and rectangles. So I like to use a spatula instead of spoons. Just going to put these in here like this. Quarter these. Now, at some point I'm going to actually puree these. You know, when you have a clam chowder, a lot of times it's potato. This is just a white yam. So it'll look very, very similar. For those of you who eat with your eyes and you want to see your clam chowder white, this is the trick. Get all that potassium in and flavor, nutrients that your body needs while you feel like you're eating something very, very decadent. Okay. Careful on your fingers. Woo-wee. We got lots of yam in there. Now I got a teenager, he's 6'7", he's gonna eat a lot, right? He doesn't just have one cup. Sometimes he takes the whole container with him, and then I find it somewhere in the house later. All right, so just getting all the moisture out of the coconut. Just gonna give it such a nice creamy flavor. The onions are in there, the coconut's in there, the yams are in there. The lid goes on. Now, I get to go enjoy the rest of my day, and we'll come back later and finish this off. All right, so we got some baby carrots. You know, we always have those around, snack on. I like to put them in. They just take a little bit of the edge off some of the bitterness that we have in some of our snacks during the day, especially if you make like a pasta sauce. So we're just gonna chop them up roughly. It's gonna have that nice rustic feel. So I got about 2.5 cups of carrots. Woo. Okay, less than 2.5. You know when you bite into a nice carrot and it's got that juiciness in it? I just want to like make a big thing of carrot juice. But that's not the plan for today. All right. Just roughly chop. It's not going to matter in a couple hours. They're all going to be soft and tender. In they go. We'll see you in a bit. All right, so the crock pot's been slowly cooking the potatoes, making them soft as it does with most vegetables. I've already scooped some in here. Use a slotted spoon. You know, look for some chunks in there. You don't want to get carrot in there. So just make sure you don't get the carrot. Otherwise, when you puree this, it's going to turn orange. And nobody really wants to eat orange-colored clam chowder. I mean, maybe they do, but that's not the case here. Oops, let me put this back. And then I'm just going to use my ladle spoon along the sides, and I want to pick up a lot of juice so that I can puree this. Oh, got some carrot in there. You just need enough to, you know, be able to puree. Now there's still, I didn't get all the yam out. There's still some in there, and that's fine because I like chunks, and not all the chunks are going to be seafood. Take my boat motor. Liquid in there. This is how I do it. It's always trial and error for the liquid. Can you put too much in at the beginning? No, not really, but oh, got some carrot in there. All right. pretty thick. And that's how I like it. So we just undo this. That's one of the things I like. Oh. Then we just put this all back in. Look how thick that is. You ever go to Dairy Queen where they turn the blizzard upside down? Okay, this will all thin out once you stir it in with the rest of the liquid that's in there. All right, let me put that over here. So next, we have our seafood. I have a delicious halibut. I got it from Whole Foods. I just like that package. You know, they're not going to deplete the ocean. It's not all packed full of sodium. I was at a different grocery store earlier this morning, and there was almost 300 milligrams of sodium in the fish, and this doesn't have that. So it's just a nice piece of fish that I like. I use a lot when I cook my meals. I cut it into thirds, cut it into chunks. In it goes. I always put the seafood in near the end because of the amount of time it takes to cook. Here I have some beautiful Canadian salmon. Same thing, it's going to get into chunks, about ½ an inch thick. Just see that beautiful, beautiful coloring of the salmon. Let me show you. Take a look at that. And you know, salmon's one of our friends. It is loaded. I mean, absolutely loaded with potassium. It's like one of the top, it's one of the top potassium content foods that we can eat. You know, it's up there with the yams, which is why I'm using yams instead of regular potato. It's got lots of fatty acids in there that are good for us. All right. We're just going to throw that in there. And of course, clam chowder isn't clam chowder without clams. And I put the water and everything in there. Yes, the clam water is flavorful. It's going to give it that seafood taste that you need when you have clam chowder. Just giving it a little bit of a stir. Oh, that's thick and rich. So we put the clams in. Now we have the greens. Now, in a lot of seafood chowders, it says for celery. I talked to my mom on the phone. She said, no, you got to put the celery in it. But I also didn't put any pepper in it, which is a requirement usually of clam chowder. It's got that hint of spice. So pepper has silicate. And silicate is kind of like a sodium quartzite type of mineral. While good for you, I'm trying to control everything. Arugula is peppery. So this is going to replace my normal pepper. I'm just going to throw this all in here. And you know how greens look when you first put them in. Oh, that's too much. And then what's going to happen is it's going to break down. But this isn't all arugula. It's also baby spinach. And baby spinach is a good friend of ours. Oh. Yep. That's some flavor. We'll put the lid on this. We'll let it all simmer down. And in about an hour or so, you will have your clam chowder. Now, once I put the fish in, usually about ½ an hour after the fish goes in, I will turn it down to low. And we're just going to take bowls whenever we feel like it, when the teenager comes home, when I feel like it, and we'll just be constantly scooping out of there.